Hello, hi, welcome back. How are you all? I hope all of you are fine and safe at your home. We have completed the first unit in your English course book. What is the name of that unit? Yes, Aspire to Win. So, now let's move on to the second unit. The name of the second unit is Bonds of Love. And in this unit, you are going to study 3 lessons. The first one is an anecdote that named Maternity. And the second one is a poem named Song of a Dream. And the last one is an autobiography that named Tolstoy Farm. Okay, so these are the contents in this unit. Are you ready to go through all that lessons? Okay. Before that, let me show you a picture. Here you can see a picture. What can you see in this picture? Yes, our globe, the world, the picture of our world, and the people are holding their hands together. And also you can see 2 doves flying. I think you know dove is the symbol of, yes, dove is the symbol of peace. And what can you say by seeing this picture? What can you say by seeing this picture? Yes, we can say we are one family. We are one family. And what we need peace in our world. That is what we can say by seeing this picture. Like Michael Jackson said in his song, "We are the world, we all are one family. Love is all we need and we should help each other." That is what Michael Jackson said in the poem, in the song, "We are the world," and in the 8th standard you have studied that song. Do you remember it? Okay. Helping each other and empathizing with the sufferings of our fellow beings will help us create a world of peace and love. As I said earlier, love is all we need. Okay. So, as I said earlier, the first lesson in the second unit is maternity. What do you mean by maternity? Yes, maternity means motherhood. Maternity is an anecdote that written by Lilica Nakos. In this anecdote, Lilica Nakos shares with us the sad and heart-touching story of refugees. What do you mean by refugees? Have you ever heard the term refugees? Okay. Refugees are the person who has been forced to leave their country in order to escape war, persecution or natural disaster, who are called refugees. Even in all over the world, you can see some refugees who left their country and migrated to another country for shelter. You can see. And if you Google the word refugees, you can see the sad situation, the sad condition of refugees. I hope you will check it. Then, it's time to go through the first lesson, maternity. But before that, let's have a look at the profile of the writer Lilica Nakos. On the screen, you can see the profile of Lilica Nakos. And also you can hear the voice-over of that profile, and you may please read with that voice. Okay, here we go.
Lilica Nakos was a Greek novelist, journalist and short story writer. She was one of the first women writers of modern Greek prose and for many years the only woman in Greek journalism. She is best remembered for her story collection titled children's inferno stories of the Great Famine in Greece. One of her best known novels is Lost Soul.
Now you have got an idea about the writer Lilica Nakos. So it's time to go through the first lesson, maternity. The word maternity means motherhood. Okay. Before go through the maternity, the first lesson maternity, I would like to remember you something. You have to underline the unfamiliar words in your textbook, and then you can check the meaning of that words either in glossary or any dictionary very easily. Please do it. Let's start the first lesson, maternity.
Maternity. Lilica Nakos. It was more than a month since they were at Marseilles. The camp of Armenian refugees on the outskirts of the town already looked like a small village. They had settled down in any way they could, the richest under tents, the others in the ruined sheds, but the majority of the refugees, having found nothing better, were sheltered under carpets held up at the four corners by sticks. They thought themselves lucky if they could find a sheet to hang up at the sides and wall them from peering eyes. Then they felt almost at home. The men found work, no matter what, so that in any case they were not racked with hunger and their children had something to eat. Of all of them, Mikhail alone could do nothing. He ate the stale bread which his neighbors cared to offer, and it weighed on him. For he was a big lad of 14, healthy and robust. But how could he think of looking for work when he literally bore on his back the burden of a newborn baby? Since his birth, which had caused his mother's death, he had wailed, proclaiming his famished state from morn till night. Who would have accepted Mikhail's services when his own compatriots had chased him from their quarters because they were unable to bear the uninterrupted howls which kept them awake at night. Mikhail himself was dazed by these cries. His head was empty and he wandered about like a lost soul, dying from lack of sleep and weariness, always dragging about with him the deafening burden that had been borne for his misfortune and its own, and that had so badly chosen the moment to appear on this earth. Everybody listened to it with irritation. They had so many troubles of their own, and they all pitifully wished it would die. But that did not happen, for the newborn child sought desperately to live and cry louder his famished state. The distracted woman stuffed their ears, and Mikhail wandered about like a drunken man. He had not a penny in his pocket to buy the infant milk, and not one woman in the camp was in a position to give it the breast, enough to drive one mad.
I hope all of you have go through the paragraphs very carefully. And I am also sure that you have underlined the unfamiliar words. Did you do that? Okay. Then please check the meanings of that words either in the glossary that given in our textbook or any dictionary. Okay. I am going to ask you a few questions, and please try to answer that question, and that will help you to understand the paragraphs that we have taken very clearly. My first question is, how did the Armenian refugees settle? How did the Armenian refugees settle? In the first paragraph, you can see the answer. And you have got an idea about the character in that anecdote. What is the name of that character? Yes, Mikhail. Then, how did the Armenian refugees settle in the camp? Yes, you are right. They settled down in any way they could. The richest under tents, the others in the ruined sheds, but the majority of them were sheltered under carpets held up at the four corners by sticks. That's how they settled in that area. That's how they settled in that camp. Can you imagine it? What do you mean by ruined sheds? This is what called ruined sheds. In these sheds, they settled. Can you imagine it? Okay. So, my second question. Describe the life of refugees in the camp. Describe the life of the refugees in the camp. I have already said what is refugee. What is the meaning of refugees? Then describe the life of them. Yeah. The men found odd jobs so that they and their families had something to eat. Even they didn't have anything to eat. They all had small babies. So the woman can't go for any work. So the men go for work and they collect the money for some foods, even to feed the babies. That is what the condition, life situation of that refugees. You have realized that the anecdote Maternity is really focusing on one boy. What is the name of that boy? As we said earlier, yes, Mikhaili. And my question, why couldn't Mikhaili earn even a penny? Why couldn't the boy, the Mikhaili, earn even a penny? Why? Yeah, because he had with him his newborn brother. His mother had died immediately after giving birth to him. Mikhaili's mother had died immediately after giving birth to a child. That is Mikhaili's brother. So Mikhaili had to look after that baby. That's why he couldn't go for any job. That's why he couldn't earn even a penny. Because he keep that baby always on his back and carrying from one place to another place to get any help. What help? To get some food for this baby. And look, my dears, here you can see the picture of Mikhaili. By seeing this picture, can you say Mikhaili can earn even a penny? No, he can't, because he is carrying the newborn baby on his back. Anyway, my next question. Why was he chased away by his fellow Armenians? Why was he chased away by his fellow Armenians? Even his fellow beings, fellow Armenians, chasing Mikhaili away from them. Why did they do that? Yes, Mikhaili was chased away by his fellow Armenians because they were unable to bear the continuous disturbing cries of the newborn baby. The cry of the baby disturbed them. That's why they chased Mikhaili away. What a fellow being is there. Okay. So, it was a newborn baby. It was a newborn child. So, the child need breastfeed or any kind of food. Not any kind of food. The baby needs some foods like milk, breast milk. But Mikhaili couldn't get anything like that. That's why the baby is crying and crying and crying. And that howling sound, disturbed the other Armenian refugees. That's why they chased Mikhaili away from them. Okay, dears, my next question. Mikhaili wandered like a lost soul. Comment on the comparison. Michali wandered like a lost soul. And I think you know what is soul. Why? Lilika Nakos compared Michali's wandering to a lost soul. Yeah. A lost soul doesn't know where to go or what to do. Michali also didn't know what he had to do to save his brother and himself from starvation. That's why Lilika Nakos compared Michali's wandering to the lost soul. Both the Michali and the lost soul did not know where to go, what to do. There is another question for you. Here it is. Why did the refugees wish that the child would die? The refugees wished that the child would die. Why did they wish like that? Yeah. The refugees had their own troubles and they didn't like to take care of that baby, which would be an additional misery to them. The baby, the Michali's brother, was an additional misery to the Armenian refugees. That's why they wished the baby would die. Okay, my next question. You might have noticed how the woman behaved to Michali. What do you think about their attitude? In the last paragraph that we have read, you noticed how the woman behaved to Michali. And what do you think about their attitude? Is that a good attitude? No. What do you think? The distracted woman stuffed their ears not to hear the cry of the miserable baby. The women were cruel and they did not show sympathy at all. The woman even not thought they are also mothers. And they wished the baby would die. So it's not a good attitude, right? Okay. I hope all of you have got an idea about the paragraphs that we have finished. And let's read the paragraphs once again. It was more than a month since they were at Mazlis. The camp of Armenian refugees on the outskirts of the town already looked like a small village. They had settled down in any way they could. The richest under tents, the others in the ruined sheds, but the majority of the refugees, having found nothing better, were sheltered under carpets held up at the four corners by sticks. They thought themselves lucky if they could find a sheet to hang up at the sides and wall them from peering eyes. Then they felt almost at home. The men found work no matter what, so that in any case they were not racked with hunger and their children had something to eat. Of all of them, Michali alone could do nothing. He ate the stale bread which his neighbors cared to offer, and it weighed on him. For he was a big lad of 14, healthy and robust. But how could he think of looking for work when he literally bore on his back the burden of a newborn baby? Since his birth, which had caused his mother's death, he had wailed, proclaiming his famished state from morn till night. Who would have accepted Michali's services when his own compatriots had chased him from their quarters because they were unable to bear the uninterrupted howls which kept them awake at night? Michali himself was dazed by these cries. His head was empty and he wandered about like a lost soul, dying from lack of sleep and weariness, always dragging about with him the deafening burden that had been borne for his misfortune and its own, and that had so badly chosen the moment to appear on this earth. Everybody listened to it with irritation. They had so many troubles of their own, and they all pitifully wished it would die. But that did not happen, for the newborn child sought desperately to live and cry louder his famished state. The distracted woman stuffed their ears, and Michali wandered about like a drunken man. He had not a penny in his pocket to buy the infant milk, and not one woman in the camp was in a position to give it the breast, enough to drive one mad. So, the anecdote named Maternity, written by Lilika Nakos, talks about an Armenian refugee named Michali. Michali is a 14-year-old boy who carries a newborn baby. That means his own brother on his back. He gets help from nobody. And let's see what will happen to Michali and his newborn brother in the next class. Till then, bye children.